What's up, fantasy managers? Welcome back to another episode of the First Pitch Podcast brought to you by PitcherList.com. My name is Jake Crumpler, and I'll be your host for this edition of the pod. You can follow me on socials at Jake Crumpler and can find all of my work at CrumplerBaseball.com. Let's dive into everything baseball related from Sunday, September 14th. We'll start it off, as always, with the transactions, injuries, news, and notes from around the league, kicking things off with the bad news as outfielder Owen Casey was placed on the 7-day concussion IL by the Cubs. Casey is the Cubs' number one prospect according to MLB Pipeline, and he looked to be taking over right field for the Cubs with Kyle Tucker on the injured list and Seiya Suzuki currently ailing. But Casey collided with the outfield wall and sustained a concussion and is going to be out for at least the next week. It's possible that his season is over from here. Outfielder Kevin Alcantara was recalled from the minors. He was just sent down the day before because Casey got called up, Alcantara went back down, and now we see a flip-flop again. Alcantara is back in the majors. He will be playing off the bench in a fourth outfielder role, which means Willie Castro will reclaim everyday right field duties for the Cubs. In terms of transactions, outfielder Adolis Garcia was activated from the 10-day IL. He had missed time with a quad strain, and it was just the minimum time for Garcia, so he returned in 10 days. He will once again be the Rangers' everyday right fielder. That's Adolis Garcia. In a corresponding move, outfielder Dustin Harris was optioned to the minors. And in terms of news, we've got some interesting prospect call-ups, starting with starting pitcher Trey Yesavage, who is expected to be selected from the minors today to make his MLB debut in a start in Tampa Bay. Yesavage is the Blue Jays' number one prospect, the number 25 prospect in baseball, and the number 3 right-handed pitching prospect, according to MLB Pipeline. Yesavage was the 20th overall pick in 2024 and made his professional debut this year starting at A-ball, and he moved all the way from A-ball through AAA, hitting all the stops, A-ball, high A, double A, triple A, combining for a 3.12 ERA, a 0.97 whip, a 41% strikeout rate, and an 11% walk rate. So pretty impressive numbers from Trey Yesavage. He's got a 55 grade fastball slider combination according to Fangraphs, and according to MLB Pipeline, they give his fastball and slider a 60 grade, as well as his splitter earning a 60 grade. So he's got some decent pitches. I'm excited to see what he can do in his MLB debut. That's Trey Yesavage in Tampa Bay. Third baseman Nolan Arenado is expected to be activated from the 10-day IL today. He missed more than a month with a shoulder strain and will return to being the Cardinals' everyday third baseman. Nolan Gorman is likely to be forced to the bench in a corresponding move and will likely see time across the infield as he's got experience at third base, second base, and first base, and could also play some DH. And our other interesting prospect call-up involves first baseman Bryce Eldridge, who's expected to be selected from the minors today to make his MLB debut for the Giants following the season-ending injury to first baseman Dominic Smith. Eldridge is the number 1 Giants prospect, the number 13 prospect in baseball, and the number 1 first base prospect, according to MLB Pipeline. And Eldridge was the 16th overall pick in 2023 and spent time at both AA and AAA this year, batting .260 with 25 homers, a steal, a 119 WRC plus, but he did struggle to a 30% strikeout rate. Fangraphs and MLB Pipeline both agree that Eldridge has game-changing power. Fangraphs gives him a 45 current and a 70 future game power, while giving him 60 current and 80 future raw power. So definitely clear power there, and Pipeline awards him a 70 grade in the power department. So Eldridge could come up and provide lots of power for the Giants as they vie for a wild card spot in the National League. However, Eldridge could be limited to a platoon at first base. It will be on the strong side because he's a left-handed hitter, but the Giants employ both Wilmer Flores and Gerard Encarnacion, who both have the ability to play first base, as well as Rafael Devers, so Eldridge could be limited in terms of his playing time. Next, we have starting pitcher Michael Wacha, who's expected to be activated from the 7-day IL tomorrow to start versus the Mariners. He's missed the last week or so with a concussion. The Royals are also expected to return starting pitcher Cole Ragans from the 60-day IL on Wednesday to start versus the Mariners. He's missed at least a couple months with a rotator cuff strain, so a couple reinforcements for the Royals rotation later this week. Now we can take a look at our notable performances from Sunday, a day in which we had a full slate of 15 games. We'll start it off with our hitters, leading off with catcher Cal Raleigh, who helped the Mariners to win against the Angels, going 2 for 4 with 3 runs, a home run, 2 RBIs, and a walk. It was his 54th homer of the year, and it traveled 409 feet at 109 miles per hour. And Raleigh's historic season continues as he set the record for most home runs by a catcher during games in which he caught. Raleigh also tied Mickey Mantle for the most home runs ever by a switch hitter and became the first player ever with 20 or more homers from both sides of the plate. Just an incredible season. Raleigh, though, has slowed down a bit in the second half with just 16 homers compared to the 38 he hit before the All-Star break. Raleigh's also batting only .218 with a WRC plus just north of 120 in the second half. It's not been an impressive finish to Raleigh's storybook campaign, but he continues to belt bombs, still giving him a chance to reach 60 on the season. The Mariners can't afford to lose any games right now as they just claimed first place in the AL West for the first time all season, so Raleigh won't be hitting the bench anytime soon and should finish the season strong. Our other notable hitting performance involves outfielder Mickey Moniak, who did all he could, but the Rockies lost in San Diego. Moniak went 4 for 4 with 2 runs, 2 homers, five RBIs, and 2 steals. He's up to 21 homers and 9 steals on the season. The first homer traveled 394 feet at 107 miles per hour, and the second one went 401 feet at 106 miles per hour. And pretty impressive double combo meal here. Moniak probably decided some playoff advancements in fantasy leagues with this double combo meal that you really rarely see 2 homers and 2 steals from a batter in one game. He also, in this game, showed a glimpse of what made him the first overall pick in 2016. And Moniak is amid one of his better offensive campaigns. A career low strikeout rate and career high marks in barrel and hard hit rates are big reasons why Moniak's posted an .815 OPS and a WRC plus above league average with career highs in homers and steals. But it's selective playing time that's sort of skewing his numbers that has him looking better than ever in 2025. Moniak has taken full advantage of hitting in cores in his first season playing for the Rockies, batting .303 with 12 long balls and a 126 WRC plus at home. That is more than 50% better than his mark on the road. While the Rockies have been smart to limit Moniak's at-bats versus lefties, as Moniak has batted .268 with 20 homers and a WRC plus nearing 110 versus righties, while struggling mightily against same-handed pitching, producing a WRC plus more than 50 points lower against southpaws. If you're looking for a streamer in a shallow league, Moniak is your guy. Just make sure he's at home against a right-handed starter, which, that being said, makes his performance in San Diego that much more impressive. But if you'd like a breakdown of other notable hitting performances from Sunday, check out the Daily Batters Box article over on PitcherList.com. Now I'll head to the mound and check out some notable starting pitching performances, opening with Adam Mazur, who did all he could, but the Marlins lost to the Tigers. He tossed 6 shutout innings, allowing just 1 hit and 2 walks while striking out 4, inducing 11 whiffs with 29% CSW across 83 pitches. Acquired from the Padres at last year's trade deadline in exchange for Tanner Scott, Mazur was an underhyped prospect who has yet to show real glimpses of his potential in the majors, but with 6 one-hit innings against a playoff-bound club on Sunday, Mazur turned in the best start of his young career. The righty relied heavily on his signature slider, a pitch that he uses almost exclusively versus lefties, which is curious, and he does so to great effect as he has an uncanny ability to backdoor that pitch while keeping it low for whiffs. The slider returned 8 whiffs for 38% CSW, pairing well with Mazur's mid-90s four-seamer that he kept upstairs for a pair of whiffs, but just 18% CSW. Curveballs were used to steal strikes against left-handed batters, while sinkers and sweepers supported his four-seamer against right-handed batters. There's plenty of upside here with Mazur thanks to the shape and velocity of his fastball, but if he can't consistently find strikes with the pitch, just 41% strikes with the fastball on Sunday, as well as keeping it upstairs, he will not attain his potential because that fastball not earning strikes and not landing upstairs for whiffs forces Mazur to rely on his mediocre sinker for strikes and puts all the pressure on his slider for whiffs. Mazur is still a work in progress and should only be a desperate stream in Texas up next. And lastly, we've got George Kirby, who helped the Mariners to win against the Angels, tossing 6 innings, allowing 3 hits and 2 earned runs, walking nobody while striking out 14. He induced 17 whiffs with 37% CSW across 101 pitches and earned the King Cole on Sunday as he led baseball with 37% CSW. There were a few other guys with 37% CSW, but Kirby led the way with 101 pitches. Kirby tied his career high in strikeouts with a mark that he set in June earlier this season. So another big 14 strikeout performance in 2025 for Kirby. But it's been a rocky season for him, for Kirby, who has been one of the most consistent and reliable pitchers in baseball the last 3 years, but he does own a 4.46 ERA this year. The most notable difference has been his walk rate doubling to 6% after being the premier control arm in baseball to start his career. There's still hope for next season, though, because what we've been waiting to see from Kirby is the strikeout ceiling he displayed with his pair of 14 strikeout performances this season. And if he can combine that increased ability to fan batters with his formerly elite control, I think a Cy Young award is around the corner. On Sunday, Kirby's four-seamer did the heavy lifting, inducing 11 whiffs and 37% CSW with pristine deployment upstairs. He definitely got away with some pitches, producing 11 foul balls and stealing 8 called strikes with the fastball, but it worked nonetheless. From a secondary standpoint, sliders and curveballs downstairs combined for 6 whiffs and 33% CSW, while sinkers tunneled with the sliders to backdoor righties on the outer edge. He's been so inconsistent this year, Kirby has. But if you've held on to him this long and just reaped the benefits of this start, I think you're starting him in Houston up next. But if you'd like a breakdown of every single start from Sunday, give the Plus Pitch podcast a listen and check out Nick's daily SP roundup over on pitcherlist.com. Now we'll head to the bullpen and check out the relievers that got saves and the closers that pitched outside of save situations or blew their saves. Starting with the former, Clayton Beeter recorded the first save of his career with a scoreless 3-strikeout ninth. He's pitched in 3 days in a row, which is sort of weird because Jose Ferrer didn't pitch the last 2 days and they turned to Beeter in a save opportunity on his 3rd day in a row. Beeter's not going to pitch again on Monday, but should be interesting if he starts to factor in to saves for the Nationals down the stretch for the next 2 weeks, because that could factor into who is the closer in 2026 for the Nationals. Cade Smith pitched a scoreless ninth for his 15th save. Will Vest recorded his 21st save with a scoreless ninth. Kyle Backus got the final out of the game for the Diamondbacks for his 2nd save. Ryan Thompson got the first 2 outs of the ninth in that one, so was given a save opportunity, but Backus was the one to ultimately record it. Riley O'Brien pitched a hitless ninth for his 4th save. Jojo Romero pitched in that one, throwing a scoreless 8th for his 22nd hold. It's really been a platoon situation between Romero and O'Brien for the Cardinals since they traded Ryan Helsley at the deadline. Andrew Kittredge pitched a hitless 3-strikeout ninth for his 5th save of the season. Michael Kelly recorded the first save of his career with a perfect ninth for the A's. Robert Suarez struck out the side in order for his NL leading 38th save. And lastly, Aroldis Chapman recorded his 30th save with a perfect ninth. In terms of closers to pitch outside of save situations or below their saves, Carlos Aceves recorded 2 outs in the ninth with the Royals up by 7. He hadn't pitched since last Wednesday, so this could be a maintenance outing, especially with the Royals off on Monday. Raisel Iglesias pitched a perfect ninth with the Braves leading by 5. He hadn't pitched since Wednesday, so this could be a maintenance outing as well. Edwin Diaz pitched a scoreless ninth in a tie game that the Mets would win in 10 innings, and Sean Armstrong pitched on the opposite side of that one, tossing a scoreless ninth in a tie game that the Rangers would lose in 10 innings. But if you'd like more information on relief pitchers, check out Rick Graham's weekly articles over on pitcherlist.com. And before we look forward to today's games, we're going to take a quick break. Now we'll look forward to Monday, September 15th, a day in which we'll have just 9 games on the slate, with the first game beginning at 6:40 p.m. Eastern Time. My matchup of the day is Paul Skeens versus Cade Horton. Cade has had an incredible rookie campaign and is sort of on track to be the National League Rookie of the Year, while on the other hand, Paul Skeens has had an incredible sophomore campaign and seems to be on track for the National League Cy Young Award. So we have 2 of the best right-handed starters, at the very least in the NL Central, but some of the best right-handed starters in baseball. So that should be a good matchup, especially an interdivision one at that. In terms of probable starters, we've got 6 guys in the auto starts tier, including both Skeens and Horton. We've also got Shohei Ohtani versus the Phillies, Kyle Bradish on the south side, Carlos Rodon in Minnesota, and Ranger Suarez in Hollywood. Our probably starts tier has 2 guys, and our questionable starts tier has 6, and that's where we'll find our streamer of the day in Matthew Liberatore versus the Reds. He has what we call Reds carpet, which is a pitcher facing the Reds on the road. They are not great outside of Great American Ballpark, and Liberatore should be able to take advantage of that. He's not displayed the ceiling that he had in the first half. It's probably due to fatigue, having pitched so much in this breakout campaign, but he should be able to find success against the lowly Reds. I'd also keep an eye out for Jason Alexander versus the Rangers. He's quietly been effective this year. He's more of a Toby, but with the defense and offensive support he gets from the Astros behind him, Alexander has found success, and the Rangers lineup is pretty depleted due to injuries. It's not a terrible lineup, so there's still the concern that maybe Alexander gets blown up, but that's why he's in the questionable starts tier and is our backup streamer of the day. In terms of hitter suggestions, I'd be looking at Braves and Nationals hitters in Nationals Park. We'll see Spencer Strider and his 4.86 ERA square off against Mitchell Parker and his 5.69 ERA. Both of these pitchers have been prone to blow-ups, and the Braves and Nationals hitters could take advantage of that. I'd also target Blue Jays and Rays hitters in George M. Steinbrenner Field. It's a great offensive ballpark, and we'll see an MLB debut versus the Rays starter to be determined. So we don't know who's starting for the Rays, and Trey Savage will be pitching for the Blue Jays. This could be an offensive showcase for the Blue Jays and Rays in Steinbrenner Field. And lastly, I target Giants and Diamondbacks hitters in Chase Field. We'll see Kaiwei Tang and his 7.54 ERA square off against Zach Gallen and his 4.84 ERA. Neither have been incredible this year. Obviously, both of them have the ability to shut out an offense. Maybe it's not as obvious with Tang, but he's had a couple good starts this year, and Gallen was a perennial Cy Young candidate before this year. So that caveat being said, I think we could see some offensive fireworks here as well in Chase Field, as both of these pitchers have generally struggled in 2025. And now we'll close things out with our relievers to watch. Sean Armstrong has pitched on back-to-back days, so expect Phil Maton to be the number one option for saves out of Texas. And lastly, Jojo Romero and Riley O'Brien have both pitched on back-to-back days, so Kyle Leahy should probably get a save, but Matt Swanson has pitched really well recently and could be the go-to option in the ninth for the Cardinals. But that'll do it for today's episode of the First Pitch Podcast. Make sure to head on over to pitcherlist.com to check out all of the great articles and features we have on the site. Sign up for PL Plus or PL Pro to gain access to the Discord and to support the Pitcher List staff. You can follow me on socials at Jake Crumpler. Tune in live on YouTube tomorrow and every day for a new installment of the podcast. And make sure to enjoy the day as we are blessed with another day of baseball.